Before it was launched, the Mahindra XUV700 was one of the most awaited SUVs in the Indian market. When it was launched, it became one of the most successful products for Mahindra, clocking over 1 lakh bookings in just 4 months. Now, nearly 10 months after it was launched, the XUV700 still has its demand game going strong. Some variants of the XUV700 still have a waiting period of over 1.5 years, and well, that is immense. So what is this SUV all about? Hello and welcome to Drive Spark. I'm Stephen Neal, and this is the petrol variant, the top of the line AX7L automatic variant in the Mahindra XUV700 lineup, and we're here to find out what this is all about. Of course, you may already know about the powerful petrol engine that is under this bonnet. What else is there to know about this vehicle? We have been driving it around for quite a bit, and we're here to tell you a lot about it. So let's get started. Before we get talking about the design and styling and all the features that this SUV comes with, let's talk about the SUV's origin. Where did the XUV700 come from? It was in 2011 that Mahindra first launched the XUV500, and well, over the next 10 years the 500 would kind of rule the Indian market in that price segment. It was also Mahindra's first SUV based on a monocoque chassis. Now coming to the XUV700, this one though is here to stay, and I'll tell you why. Starting off with the designs. So when you look at the overall design of the XUV700, it is reminiscent of the XUV500. There are many elements on this vehicle that will remind you that it is an XUV. However, these elements have been modified, have been changed in a way to make it look different, to make it look a bit more premium, because well, it is a bit more premium. And let's start talking about the design from up front. So you've got these headlamps. These are LED units. They look great. They've been designed in a brilliant manner. You've got these wraparound headlamps, in fact, and then you've got this LED signature DRLs over here. So this signature is kind of reminiscent of the 500. That's because the 500 used to sport a matte black panel in its front bumper. Now that same kind of a design has been incorporated into the headlamp. Coming to the front, you've got this grille over here. So it's a dual tone grille. Of course, you've got the silver elements, and you've got these multiple slats, vertical slats, and of course you cannot miss the new Mahindra logo. This logo was unveiled with the XUV700, and well, all future Mahindra SUVs, the ones that will be launched after this, will sport the same logo as well. The logo looks premium, looks really nice, and gives the vehicle a bit more class than the older logo. Now that is done, let's focus on the bottom part. So you've got the silver scuff plate, and well, that pretty much sums up the front end. So the bonnet is also very muscular. You've got these character lines on the bonnet, and well, it does add a bit of bulk to the SUV. Now moving on to the side, the first element that will draw your attention are the 18-inch alloy wheels. These are diamond cut dual tone alloy wheels, and it's got kind of some inscriptions on it that make it stand out. Now to see these inscriptions, you really have to get up close. From afar though, it looks really neat. It looks very premium indeed. And then you got your matte black cladding that runs right from the front bumper all around the vehicle. You find it on the fender as well as along the running board. Now you get flush door handles, and that is something that is hard to miss. Now in this particular frame, the door handles are out because this variant, the top of the line L luxury trim model, features electronic door handles. These are smart door handles that when you open the doors, the mirrors as well as the door handles open up for you to easily access them. Otherwise, when it's locked, the door handles sit flush, and the entire side profile gets a neat and uninterrupted design. And up top you've got roof rails. Well, even though they are functional, we wouldn't really suggest you mount anything on them. That is because of the panoramic sunroof that Mahindra calls sky roof. Well, it is huge and lets lots of air in. It gives the cabin an overall premium and spacious feel. Well, we'll take you inside in just a bit, but before that, let's get to the rear and I'll tell you more about the design. Now this is the rear end of the Mahindra XUV700, and well, angular is the word that comes to mind when you look at it at a glance. So you've got these angular lines on the spoiler, you've got the stop light in the spoiler as well, and then you've got the angular tail lamp. Now this tail lamp looks really nice, looks premium and unique, and well, it stands out in a crowd. And then you've got the prominently placed Mahindra logo, and of course you've got the reverse camera. Now speaking of the reverse camera, this is part of a 360-degree camera feature that this variant of the XUV700 has, and it's very fascinating. You've got a camera up front, you've got cameras in the rear view mirrors on the outside, and you've got a camera at the rear. So together they stitch a brilliant image. You can even record the footage from these cameras, as well as you can capture the image and save it in a gallery. Now the infotainment system has 2 GB of inbuilt memory, so it helps in storing all of these footage and images. I'll show you more about it when we get inside. Now before we get to the boot space, I should also tell you that there are two ways to open the boot. You can use the key fob over here. This is a very premium looking key fob, or you have a request sensor placed underneath the Mahindra logo here, so you can press that and the boot opens up, and it takes a bit of an effort to pull it up. It's not an electric tailgate. We would wish for an electric tailgate at this price point. Now this is the boot space of the Mahindra XUV700 with the rear row folded up. Now the third row has two options. You can either recline it using these levers, you can pull it back, or you can leave it in the vertical position. The space over here with the third row in place is 220 liters. Now there is a bit of a flaw here. If the rear passenger, the one sitting in the third row, want to recline the seat, well, it's a bit of a stretch going back, because this is the only lever that helps you to recline it, or you can use the same lever to put it down, so like so. And with the third row down, you have a boot space of 450 liters. Now you can even fold down the second row. You can either split fold it, or you can put it down completely. It kind of creates a flat bed if you put it down completely, and the boot space at that time is 1050 liters, which is pretty humongous. You can probably fit in anything in here, or you can plonk in a bed, and that will be super useful during a long road trip. Now it's time to go inside and check out what the cockpit is like, so let's go in. The Mahindra XUV700 has one of the best cockpits, or one of the best cabins in its class. In fact, it has a cockpit or a cabin that is way ahead of its class. It feels so much more premium than what you are paying for. So let's start off with the most premium bit of it, the most sophisticated feature of it all, the glass slab. Well, we fondly call it the glass slab. It's because when it's turned off, well, it simply looks plain and black, and that's about it. It looks just like a glass slab, and there's literally nothing to differentiate that there are two screens on here. Turn it on though, and well, things change pretty quickly, and you quickly see two sophisticated full color TFT 10.25 inch screens, both of it, the infotainment as well as the instrument cluster, are 10.25 inch units. This one is a touch screen, and this one quite obviously isn't. So how do you control this? Well, you've got the steering mounted controls for that. So you've got various buttons on here. You've got your toggle buttons as well as the function buttons on here. So on the left side, you've got functions for your calls, for your audio, etc. And on the right side, you've got your controls for the screen, what is displayed on the screen. You can choose between the various displays that are available. You have multiple displays. In fact, you can spend a whole lot of time just toggling between the displays. It's pretty entertaining, to be honest, and it looks really nice. The colors on this display are fabulous, and well, it's just a delight to just look at this display. So fab job on that, Mahindra. Now that is done, let's talk about the steering wheel itself. It's nice and chunky, it's leather wrapped, of course, and then there are the little details on the steering wheel. For example, there is this little kink in the steering wheel where your palm would really end, so that helps in giving you that bit of additional grip. And then of course the flat bottom, so well, it's a bit more sporty. You've got your silver element as well as your gloss black element on this, so it's a very premium interior. And then of course you come to the dashboard. So this dashboard, well, it is a very premium feeling dashboard. You've got your leather elements on it, and then you've got your hard plastic elements as well. So the top is of hard plastic, whereas in between you've got this beige or white leatherette, and then you've got the silver element that starts off from the left door, goes all through the dashboard. It's got the AC vents in between, and then it goes on to the driver's side door as well, so it gives you that premium feel. And then you get to the center console. So you've got your controls for your automatic climate control. You've got dual zone climate control on this, so the passenger can control the temperature using this knob, the driver controls the temperature using this knob, and then you've got your various functions in between. Finally, you get your safety feature buttons. You've got your 360-degree camera over here, so that is a fancy feature. Looks really nice. You can check out your various camera options over here on the screen, and you want to turn it off, you can just press this and it turns off. Beneath these controls, you've got the slot for your phone's wireless charging, so you can place your smartphone in here, and if it has a wireless charging feature, you can well charge your phone while you're driving along. And then you've got yet another slot in here, so where you can place your phone, so your entire phone just goes in there, and well, it's safe and secure, and well, it isn't really going to get out of there anytime. And then you've got two USB ports here. One is for you to connect your phone to the infotainment system, and the other is to charge up your phone. Now at this point, I should also mention that this infotainment system comes with wireless Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, so there isn't really a necessity for you to connect your phone to the system in order to use those two features. Those two features work fabulously. Now speaking about the infotainment system, you've got lots of other features on it, like you've got inbuilt navigation, 3D navigation, you've got lots of other features like you can use your apps. It's got inbuilt apps as well. As I mentioned earlier, it's got 2 GB of internal storage where you can store the images and videos captured by the 360-degree surround camera, and the list goes on, and that's a whole lot of features on a car like this, and it's very fancy indeed. Now coming over to the center console, well, you've got your gear lever here. So this is an automatic gearbox, the top of the line model, 6-speed torque converter. We'll tell you more about it while we're driving the car. So you've got your usual stuff, the P, R and D and M modes. Finally, you've got your electronic parking brake, which is one of the features you get on the L model, the luxury trim. And then you've got your auto hold feature, so you turn it on, well, the car holds itself when you are in traffic or on a slope, downhill or uphill. Finally, you've got your cup holders in here. So these cup holders over here are not cool. Cool cup holder feature would have been really nice. And then finally, you've got your navigation for the touchscreen. In case you do not want to use the touchscreen, you can just navigate through the system using this. You can toggle up, down, left, right and increase or decrease your volume. You've got various buttons over here to do the same. Finally, you come to this armrest. So this is also covered in leatherette. It's adjustable, so you can slide it front or back. And then finally, you've got some more storage underneath this armrest. So you've got a tray here to place the key fob, which is a neat feature. So the key fob is not going to be bouncing around anymore. It's going to stay in place. And this storage unit is cool. So you can probably place a tin or two in here. So that's pretty much it. Now it is at this point I should also mention one of the ergonomic flaws in here. It is that if you have a cup in here or a tin or even a bottle placed into this cup holder slot and you slide it forward, well, it isn't gonna fit really, because, well, you're gonna have a bottle in here or a tin. So, well, that is one of the ergonomic flaws. Well, apart from this, I cannot really complain about anything else. The seats are fabulous. You've got lots of bolstering on all sides, good thigh support, good back support. You've got support on either side as well, so when you're cornering hard, you aren't going to be falling off the seat. The seat is going to hold you in place. You've got perforation on the seat for better ventilation, but you do not get the ventilated seats feature. That would have been a great addition on this SUV. So that's pretty much it from the front end. Now it's time to go check out the back seat and I'll tell you more about it there. This panoramic sunroof, or as Mahindra calls it, the sky roof, is excellent and really sets the tone for the cabin. If you think it makes a difference up front, it makes a world of a difference at the rear. So you just can't stop staring out there, especially if it's a cloudy day and you want to look at the clouds, or if it's raining, it's even better. As you can see, the raindrops really dropping onto you but not really getting you wet. So it's a really nice place to be in. Now let's start talking about the seats. The seats, as you can see, are pretty comfortable. They look comfortable. They are very comfortable. In this shade of white, it's pretty easy to get the seats dirty. Well, apart from that, I don't see any disadvantage to these seats. Now let's talk about the comfort it offers. Well, it's got decent under thigh support. It could have done better, but well, it's nothing really you can complain about. Back support is excellent. Headroom, well, there's loads of it, and knee room too, there's lots of it. Now the passenger on the left side, well, in case the passenger wants to recline a bit more, well, it's easy to do that with this lever here. So you pull this lever and push the seat ahead, so that increases leg room by a huge margin, and that increases comfort. Of course, well, increasing comfort further are the air conditioning vents. Now these air conditioning vents can be adjusted very well. You can even turn it off if needed. You've got a slot here to place your smartphone, and you've got a USB type C here in case you want to charge it. So this is yet another feature. The little details that really matter are these. So Mahindra has provided 3 different types of charger slots in this vehicle. So up front, you've got a USB type A, in the second row you've got a USB type C, and at the rear in the third row you've got a 12-volt socket. So it doesn't matter what kind of charging cable you have, you can charge your smartphone in the Mahindra XUV700. So well, that's pretty much it when it comes to the comfort and the seats itself. Now the color patterns, as you can see, are pretty decent. You've got the same color patterns flowing at the rear too. This is a soft touch panel, and well, you've got your piano black finish as well as the brushed aluminum finish on the door levers. So it's a really nice premium feel in here. Now at this point, I should also mention that it is not very easy to get into the rear. I'll just show you this. So you've got your one touch tumble for the rear passenger, so you reach down here and the seats tumble down, and well, this is how you get into the rear. The seats don't really go forward because there are no rails down there, so that is yet another feature that is missing on this SUV. If there were rails, the seat could have gone much further and the space to get into the rear third row could have been much higher. In fact, getting into the third row is a bit tricky, especially given that you do not have any side steps to get inside the car, so it is a pretty long reach for anyone wishing to get into the back. So that is point number one, why you should reserve the rear seat only for kids. Now that that is spoken about, let's put the seat back in place and talk about this feature, because this increases comfort by a huge margin. So you've got your fold down armrest. This is also covered in leatherette. It's a very soft armrest, and well, you can keep your arms in comfort over longer distances. Also, usually you find your cup holders placed horizontally in front of the armrest, and if you've actually placed a cup in there or a tin, you can't really place your arm, whereas in this, since it's placed vertically, you can actually place your arm properly while still having the cup or tin in there. So it's a bit of clever design. These little details really matter. So that pretty much sums up the rear end, or the middle row, the second row of the Mahindra XUV700. And well, with that we come to an end for the interior as well. Now it's time to tell you how it is to drive this SUV. Let's get back into the driver's seat. So now we're behind the wheel of the XUV700, and well, as you might have already heard from several other sources, this is pretty powerful, and we're gonna tell you the same as well. This SUV is powered by a 2-liter turbo-petrol 4-cylinder engine, puts out about 197 bhp and 380 Nm. Now those are pretty good figures for an SUV of this size, and well, the result is pretty much seen. So you might be at any speed, and the moment you prod the throttle, you put the pedal to the metal, well, it is going to accelerate. For example, we are doing just below 100 kilometers per hour now, and I put my foot down and immediately there's a kick down, and as you can see, accelerating pretty hard, and we're already at 130 kilometers per hour. Now that is how quick this SUV is. It picks up its speed no matter what your current speed is. So if you're, say, trotting around in the city, well, it can pick up speed there too very easily, and it's one of the most responsive turbo petrol engines we have seen. There's barely any turbo lag, it drives really well, and also NVH levels are pretty much in control, so you struggle to find faults with this engine. And the same goes for the gearbox as well. This is a 6-speed torque converter, and well, shifts, as you might expect from a torque converter, aren't very quick. However, it is something that you will really struggle to find faults with after realizing that it's a torque converter. Now you cannot compare this with a DCT, of course. If you compare it with the DCT, you will find lots of faults in it, but compared to other torque converters in this segment, even in segments above it, well, this gearbox is brilliant. Now for those who wish to shift on their own, well, you do have a manual mode in it, but the responsiveness of this manual mode isn't as you would want it to be. This could have been better, however, it is still a torque converter, so considering that, well, it is pretty good. Also, we still would have preferred the proper manual gearbox. Yes, you can get the same engine, the same spec with a proper manual gearbox, and that is the one we would have picked. However, this is something that you would have to choose based on your convenience and your usage requirement. Now it's time to talk about something that is quite shocking, and that is the fuel efficiency. Well, with an extremely light foot, we have managed to eke out an average fuel efficiency of 7.8 kilometers per liter, and that is displayed on the screen. Now in real life though, it is much lower than that, because this car has been sipping a lot of fuel. Now given the size of this SUV plus the size of that engine, the amount of power it's putting out, well, it is alright to have such low fuel efficiency figures. However, in an age of rising fuel prices, it still bites you pretty hard. Now it's time to talk about one of the coolest features on the XUV700, and that is the advanced driver assistance systems, or as we know it, ADAS. Now this car comes with quite a few of those features packed into it. That includes lane departure warning, you get lane departure assist, you've got adaptive cruise control, etc. Now we have been driving it and using the ADAS features extensively on our highways, and well, all it needs is a well marked highway. So if you've got the white line on either side of the lane, and that white line is pretty much visible very clearly. Well, the ADAS features work like a charm. For example, if you take your hands off the steering wheel like so, remember, do not do this on public roads. However, if you do so, it will still hold its lane, and that is a really cool feature. And we have tested multiple speeds starting from 40-50 kilometers per hour going all the way up to 100 kilometers per hour. The SUV holds its lane very well. The steering wheel corrects it every now and then, and well, that's a really cool thing to have. Also, you have adaptive cruise control with the stop and go feature, so you can set a speed and then it will stick to that speed. If the vehicle in front slows down, it slows down too, unless you pull out to the other lane, and then it accelerates past that vehicle. And if the vehicle in front slows down and you just slow down behind it, and well, say you come across a speed bump, so you slow down for it and you take your legs off the brake, well, it's gonna go accelerate to the speed you've already set. So these are pretty cool features. Now these features deserve a separate video on its own, where we will actually be displaying the ADAS features on the road, being used on the road, so do check that out as well. While we're on the note of steering, well, the steering wheel feels really nice. It's nice and chunky. It's a flat bottom wheel, feels pretty sporty, and it weighs up really nicely as the speeds build up. And at city speeds, at low speeds, well, at crawling speeds, it's really light, so it's a nice experience to drive. And finally, you get to the suspension. It's really supple. Suspension is pretty firm, especially if there are just one or two occupants in the car, yet it soaks up the potholes pretty well. Now we have tested the car with a full load, that is 7 of us sitting in the car, and well, at those speeds the ride gets a little bumpier because the suspension is working a bit harder to keep up with the weight and the speed, of course. So yet the suspension keeps up very well, and the ride is very supple. It is pleasant, it is calm. So well, good job on the suspension as well. So that was an overview of what it's like to drive. Now let's talk about some of the other features that make life behind the wheel in the XUV700 a bliss. For example, you've got the screen in front of you. It's very engaging, keeps you engaged throughout. You do not have any chance for your attention to just wander off anywhere or for you to get bored while driving, because there's just so much to play around with over here. And this entire cabin feels roomy and airy. The air conditioning is pretty good. The seats are very comfortable. The part seats are a bliss, and well, life at the back is also pretty good. So feedback from those who sat in the third row, well, for adults it is all right, for shorter distances, but for kids it's a blast. Yes, we did put some kids in the back as well, and they had a blast in there. They were having fun, they were playing around. Yes, we put 3 kids in the third row, and well, as we always say, the third row is pretty much suited for kids, and it is in this case. So that's pretty much it when it comes to the driving aspect of the Mahindra XUV700. The XUV700 is an attention magnet, and there's no doubt about it. Well, if you're tired of the attention you're getting, well, you just floor the throttle and you will be way ahead of everyone that's giving you the attention. That is the power of the XUV700. Well, we've been living with it for a few days now, and we just can't get enough of the XUV700, and well, we are quite looking forward to driving it even more. And well, that's the charm of the XUV700. Now that explains why there's still a 1.5 year waiting period, and why there are people waiting so long to get their own XUV700. Prices start at rupees 13.18 lakh ex-showroom and go all the way up to 25.58 lakh for the top end diesel all-wheel drive automatic variant. And in that whole price bracket, you've got lots of variants, at least 23 variants with different engine options, different seating options, different gearbox options, and of course the trim levels. So well, there's a lot to choose from, and well, if you're out looking for an SUV, this could just be the one for you if you can wait out the waiting period. That's it from us for now. Thank you so much for watching. Do let us know in the comments what you think of the XUV700, and if you have any doubts about it, also you can ask away and we'll make sure to answer them for you. This is Stephen Neal signing off for Drive Spark. Stay safe and drive safe.